Welcome back, everybody, to another edition of Legally Insane.
Yeah, that's good.
That was good.
That's
that was
really
really
good.
good. I'm your host, Matt Ritter. With me, as always, is Tony Sam.
Hello.
I am a lawyer turned comedian.
And I'm a comedian, and I'm still a comedian.
Yeah, and every week I pick out an interesting topic in legal history, and I tell you guys about it, and I also tell Tony about it for the first time.
Never heard it until he brings it up.
Yeah, and it's sort of like Mad Libs for legal history.
Ooh, I love them.
So pardon power is a hot topic right now. It's hot. It's very, very hot. But it has a long history.
You know what's interesting about pardons is you generally only think about the president pardoning people, but
Right. So,
each local level of government has some
there's state pardons, there's federal
power.
pardons. But it goes all the way back to Hammurabi's code.
Ooh.
You know that adultery was punished by
You had
death?
to adulter someone else.
No, that would have been a cool
A
punishment.
penis for a penis.
Yeah. A twat for a twat.
A hole for a hole.
Everybody leaves
you went to the T word?
A hole for a hole leaves everybody brown.
I never thought you for a T word, man.
A hole for a hole leaves everybody brown.
Oh, God.
You like that? That's like a take on Gandhi's eye for an eye leaves everybody blind.
Well,
A hole for a hole leaves everybody.
why is there poo in the other holes?
A hole for a hole. Every hole has poo in it.
In your mouth?
All
Your ears, your mouth?
Everybody's got poo in all their
Belly
holes.
button?
All holes are filled
Everyone
with
is
poo.
loaded with poo.
Let's be honest. Every hole is filled with some sort of disgusting. Anyway, so adultery was punished with the death of both parties by drowning if one person adultered. But if the husband was willing to pardon...
Even the person who saw it happen? Hey, you're adultering my wife.
Everybody involved
Let's
in this.
in the water, everybody.
Hey, everybody down. Everybody goes in the water. You
I
should have
wish I
closed your
wouldn't have
eyes.
caught my wife.
You should have closed your eyes. It's like Indiana Jones, you know? You're not supposed to look when they open the
You turn the other cheek so they can stuff it with brown.
hole for a hole, baby.
Oh.
So adultery was punished with the death of both parties by drowning. But if the husband was willing to pardon the wife, the king could intervene to pardon the paramour.
So the husband could save his wife, but the king could save the philanderer.
Yeah, the guy who does the cuckolding.
No.
Because the king was probably like,
Are you a cuckold if you watch it?
No,
You're not cuckolding if you sleep with someone else's wife.
you're not cuckolding? You are cuckolding.
You're the cuckold if you watch it.
Right. If it happens to you.
The
you're husband.
cuckoldee.
Right. So the paramour in this case was the guy who was doing the king probably did that because he was like, you know what, I've done it. I've done it. Do as I say, not as I do, my friend.
Hey, we're only human, okay? I've philandered.
I've also slept with his wife.
Half this village is my bastard children anyway.
So I can't really blame you on that one. The ancient Romans had a pardoning history. It goes back quite a long way. In Athens, not Romans. Athens, Greece.
Hammurabi?
No, in ancient,
That's the Phoenicians.
In ancient Greece, in Athens, the Athenians, if you wanted to be pardoned, you had to collect signatures.
Beg your pardon?
I beg your pardon. I'm begging
your pardon.
I have to go door to door.
Is that where the term came from?
I beg your pardon.
Boy, if you...
It was like this. It was like...
Yeah, who is it?
I beg your pardon.
Not interested. Hello?
I beg your pardon.
I said we're not interested. Get off my porch. Or I'll call the pardon police. Get out of here.
6,000 signatures they had to collect.
6,000?
You ever have these guys who come around to collect votes?
Hey, did you look that up?
Yeah, 6,000 signatures.
No, I'm saying, did you look that up to see if the term beg your pardon came from?
Oh, where beg your pardon came from?
Because that would have been a really great side story.
If that's actually beg your pardon. Beg your pardon, the term came from
Drum roll.
it came from people knocking on doors in Athens.
Is that true?
Asking for signatures.
Is it?
I don't know. It's not in here anywhere.
It sounds like what
it
you
was
just
from 1915, France.
Oh,
that's the first use of I beg your pardon.
But what you described sound like that was where it came from.
I beg your pardon. Origin. Yeah, there's no origin.
What's the French term?
The origins of the British saying.
Je beg ton pardon.
Je beg your pardon.
Boy, we sound really stupid right there.
That's That was I would love to beg your pardon. I beg your pardon.
That's fascinating. You know, most people I bet you most people didn't get a pardon that way.
6,000 signatures. There were only like 100,000 people on Earth.
How long were you given to get 6,000 signatures?
You had a week.
You got 2 hours.
You have 2 hours to collect 6,000 beg your pardons.
Wow, that's a great premise for an action film.
Coming soon.
What do you do?
To theaters near you, starring Keanu Reeves.
And the ghost of Dennis Hopper.
Keanu Reeves plays Babylonius.
And Dennis Hopper is Hammurabi.
Well, man, I slept with I didn't know he was married.
You have 2 hours to get 6,000 signatures.
If I had known she was married,
you're all dead.
I wouldn't.
What do you do?
Listen, man, I slipped and I fell inside of this woman who's married.
Is that your best Keanu?
That's Keanu Reeves, man.
Whoa, Ted.
Yeah, Bill. You want to come collect some signatures with me?
Whoa, your mom's hot.
Hey, dude.
Yeah.
Stop talking about my mom unless you're going to come collect these signatures with me.
Whack-a-jack.
Come on, man. I got 6,000. What if we split them up,
it should be a Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure where they go back. They have to go back to pass history class.
Not too many people collected those pardons. And then in England, so here's the thing about pardons is they were always kind of scammy. People think they're kind of scammy now.
Pardons.
You know, they always seem like they're kind of like a quid pro quo.
Right. Someone is in bed with someone else and it's for money.
So they never really had a good reason. Back in the medieval England, kings doled out pardons to raise money for armies.
Oh.
So like if you were in jail, you could get out of it. You could get a pardon
to go to the army.
Yeah, to go die. That doesn't seem like a great...
I will pardon you if you pick up your sword and fight for my name.
But sir, I'm only in here for 30 days and I'll be out of here.
It's good to be the king.
You're pardoned.
It's good.
But I'm going to be out of here in 30 days. Wait,
you're pardoned. Take him away. Bye-bye.
I refuse.
Have fun dying for me.
But I don't need a pardon. Sir,
You've been pardoned and you've enlisted.
It's kind of scummy.
Yeah. You know what's funny about that is I'm pretty sure my dad got out of jail because his sentence was either you go to jail or you enlist.
Wait.
For Vietnam.
Was your dad a draft dodging commie?
No, I think he broke the law in other ways and he got arrested.
Oh, so they gave him the
option of, you can go to jail or you can go enlist.
Yeah.
And so he did for Vietnam.
Oh, so your dad went. He wasn't a draft dodging commie.
No.
Oh, good.
But he was.
Because we're going to get into that.
He was the kind of guy who got in trouble and had to join or go to jail.
I mean, there's really not a lot of good reasons.
Now, does that track?
Yeah. So Article 2, does that track?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Your dad is a descendant of these English common folk.
Oh, my God.
Essentially.
And he wasn't English.
No, but I mean, he was basically one of the paupers who was in jail.
Right.
And the king in this case was Jimmy Carter. King Jimmy Carter.
You know, I'm Jimmy Carter.
No, wait, Vietnam, it was
Ford or Nixon.
Nixon or
LBJ.
Yeah.
We just named 8 presidents.
Yeah, Vietnam lasted a long time.
But I did like, I'm Jimmy Carter. I'm Jimmy Carter. That's my best Jimmy Carter.
Jimmy Carter, I'm just a peanut farmer.
That's your best Jimmy?
And I don't like...
I'm Jimmy Carter.
And I don't like war.
I'm Jimmy Carter. I feel like it's giving yourself an overbite and then just talking about your name, Jimmy Carter.
Yeah, because you don't know any of his policies.
I like pecans.
He's a peanut farmer, you scum. He hated pecans.
Did he?
There's nothing that guy hated more than pecans.
Is that true?
Yes. Gerald Ford liked pecans because Jimmy Carter was a peanut guy.
Boy, did I screw up.
Yeah. You know he had to give up his peanut farm? Talk about changing of ethics laws.
He gave up his peanut farm to become president.
But Trump wouldn't even give up the Trump
has given up nothing.
He had a stack of blank documents. Jimmy Carter gave up the one thing he loved in this world, his peanuts. Yeah, he had to eat pecans for the rest of his life because every time he looked at a peanut, it reminded him of his peanut farm.
How did you know that?
What do you mean?
That he gave up all his peanuts.
I mean, I just know things because I'm legally sane.
I read it in something I wrote on the internet.
I read it in something I
All
read.
right.
So Article
Sorry.
2, Section 2 of the U.S. Constitution gives the Commander-in-Chief power to grant reprieves and pardons for offenses against the U.S. Though it only applies to federal crimes, not civil or state crimes. Governors have to issue pardons for those. And the Constitution also prohibits presidential pardons in cases of impeachment. And they say that goes back to a 17th century case in which the British Parliament started impeachment proceedings to investigate whether the Earl of Danby took a bribe from the French. King Charles II, who it turned out was in fact the one behind the bribes, pardoned him in order to prevent the truth from coming out.
You can't pardon yourself.
You can't pardon yourself. That's where the
Are we
cases of
sure? Because
impeachment-
I thought that the
Well,
current president of the
may
United
be
States
able
was
to.
looking
You may
into
be
doing
able
that.
to. You may be able to. We don't know.
I
Except in
pardon
cases of
me.
impeachment.
Pardon me.
Pardon me. Pardon me.
Pardon me.
Pardon me.
I'm not asking you. I'm telling you.
Pardon
Pardon
It
me.
seems so polite when you say it, but
Right.
then you realize
Pardon me. Oh, what? Did you do something? No.
I just pardoned myself for federal crimes.
I'm free, baby.
That's it. You just say pardon me. So
Hey, wait. So you remember what just recently happened where the president pardoned that Arizona sheriff?
yeah, so we're going to get into that, but
Oh.
that's way down the road. First, we're going to start at the Whiskey Rebellion.
Oh, well, I was just bringing that up only because you said that
Sheriff
the
Joe
president
Arpaio.
could not intervene in state matters.
Right.
But that was a state matter.
No, federal crime.
Okay.
Yeah. But also you can pardon at any time, even before they've filed charges, which is interesting. So the first big pardon happened after the Whiskey Rebellion. Remember the Whiskey Rebellion?
Tell me a little bit about it.
Yeah, there was a tax on whiskey because there was a big debt.
Sounded like my ex-wife every time she got drunk.
She taxed you?
She'd have a whiskey rebellion.
Yeah, she'd have a. It sounds like my wife every time.
My wife.
Every time I have too much whiskey, she's in full rebellion, open rebellion.
We should have a little like morning radio zinger button that says all like the pre
Right.
and goes my wife, my wife, my wife. Bzzz.
Not gonna happen. Every time I have whiskey and my wife rebels.
Boing.
What's the opposite of that? What's the sound of a flaccid?
Bee-oh.
That's the sound of
Foghorn.
a penis going down.
Oh. It's like a like
Deflate. I think it's like this. So there's a whiskey.
Glad we did that.
That has been bad sound effects. So after the Revolutionary War, we were in debt. We had a lot of debts, and so we decided to start taxing whiskey, the favorite drink of everybody in America,
Whiskey, it's what's for dinner.
and lunch, and breakfast.
And we'll all be dead by 32.
Yeah. It's what keeps you running.
Right.
When you need to go to the gym, drink whiskey.
The cirrhosis maker.
Whiskey, it's the best protein shake before you hit Gold's Gym.
The breath maker.
Whiskey, it's what you use to impress a girl.
Whiskey, need some paint to be thinned.
Whiskey, it's what you put on open sores.
Well, that was just going to be mine. I'd be like, have an open wound, whiskey.
You want to whisk somebody away on a whiskey adventure.
Want to forget about the last 2 weeks? Whiskey.
And a lot of other uses.
By Mattel.
You can also make Molotov cocktails out of it.
By Funko.
So whiskey was obviously something that you probably in hindsight wasn't the thing to tax. Should probably come up with
No,
something
that was
else.
the one thing that people wanted.
Yeah.
And they probably didn't like being taxed.
Yeah, they got taxed really highly. No. Yeah, they got taxed like 25% on their whiskey. So in 1794, a group of whiskey producing Pennsylvania farmers took to the streets and burned the home of a local tax inspector. As you would.
While he slept.
Yeah, I mean, as you would, right?
Did they murder his family too?
No, nobody died. The attack came on the heels of several other protests, and Hamilton was the Treasury Secretary, and he argued that it threatened the stability of the U.S.
Just gotta get my shot.
Oh, you're singing Hamilton?
Yeah.
I haven't seen it. You ruined it for me.
I just gotta get my shot.
You just ruined it. And now I don't need to go see Hamilton.
Alexander Hamilton.
So this is what's interesting. Washington himself marched with a 13,000-strong militia into western Pennsylvania to quell the rebellion.
Because he was a drunk, too.
Yeah. He was like, let me just go see what's going on with him.
George Washington, more like George Whiskeyton.
Whiskeyton.
Whiskeyton, you stupid.
Whiskeyton.
No, Whiskeyton.
Whiskeyton.
What are you doing?
Whiskey. It's Washington.
Vosky.
No, that's vodka plus Washington.
Vosky.
George Voskington.
George Vodka.
George.
No,
Gin,
what? You keep
George
making
Ginning.
it more difficult than it needs to be. George Washington. What's the matter with you? It's so
George
easy.
Tequila, son.
Stupid. You're making it so much more difficult.
I'm George.
George Washington.
Tequila.
George Whiskeyton.
George Sherryton.
Get out of here.
He liked sherry.
Class A bozo.
So he went down there. It's kind of crazy. Can you imagine, like, the president came to quash the whiskey rebellion himself?
By quash, you mean he brought chips and guac?
He's like, well, you know what whiskey goes great in?
Did someone say party?
Whiskey-moly.
Oh, Georgie, baby.
You really could put whiskey in everything.
That's right.
So 20 members of the mob were arrested and 2 were convicted of treason. And sentenced to hang.
Oh, boy.
But Washington showed them mercy.
He pardoned them all.
He pardoned them. That was the first use of the pardon in the U.S. And the next one.
That must have been some good whiskey.
I mean, it was a lot stronger back then. I mean, you ever see every Western, right? It's just like you just do the shot and you just like.
Your face crunches up.
Yeah. There's also just like mounds of dirt in it, too, at the bottom. It's really like.
Sediment.
It ages like a fine.
Honestly,
shite.
it was like they were probably all drinking like rubbing alcohol.
Yeah, it was all rubbing whiskey.
That's what killed them.
Yeah. And then Brigham Young. You know Brigham Young? That guy.
The Mormon.
Yeah, he led the Latter-day Saints to Utah, and he was their first governor. But he was also resistant to federal intervention. He didn't want anybody involved in their Mormonocracy.
Is that the legal term?
Not sure if that's the legal term, but
yeah, because he was just like every other phony who starts a religion.
Hey, don't get off on a religious war.
I'm ranting.
Let's not start a holy war here, Harris. Jobu.
Hey, Jobu needs a refill.
Jobu, I feed him rum, and he helps me hit home run.
I need hats for bats.
Hey, you better not leave that rum sitting around here with this punch. Drink Jobu's rum.
It's very bad.
It's very bad.
Views in this podcast do not necessarily reflect the views of both Matt Ritter and Tony Sam.
Yeah, we're both atheist scum. But one of us is Jewish. The other one is
I'm Jew-like.
Catholic.
It's Jew-like.
You're Catholic. And we believe in all religions equally. They're all good. Mormonism seems good. So this was the Utah War.
Is that your disclaimer?
I mean, you get to have multiple wives.
They're all equally ridiculous.
No, the one that lets you have more than one wife is better. All things being equal, that's better.
I want the one where I get all the virgins.
You have to die for that one.
I don't care as long as there's 1,000 of them. Yay!
What about having a bunch of non-virgins, but you get to marry them in life? You have a bunch of them.
Yay!
What about one wife? That's okay.
Nah.
That's okay, too.
I'll pass.
All right, I guess we should all choose that one.
Choose a wife, choose a job, choose a career, choose to watch mind-numbing game show, train spotting.
So
what are we talking about?
Utah War, and so the Mormons killed 100 people on a California wagon-bound train in a massacre. Young and his followers received a pardon from James Buchanan because they wanted to have a compromise and bring him into the fold for the federal government. So that was a big one.
Bring him into the fold.
Bring him in. Bring him? Bring
him into the bring him.
Yeah, we'd like to bring him into the bring him.
He's been brought.
Yeah. And then our favorite guy, socialist politician, Eugene Victor Debs. Remember that guy?
Who? What did he do?
The socialist. He received 1 million votes in 1920 from jail. He was the guy who was anti-war.
Whoa, we
activist.
skipped ahead.
Yeah, we're in the 1920s now. He was charged with sedition and violation of the Espionage Act. Remember, we were
Sedition.
the Espionage Act.
Sedition brought them together. Love kept them there.
Eugene Victor Debs stars in Espionage My Heart.
Hugh Jackman as Eugene Deb.
His wife, Claire
Dane as
Martha Washington.
Rosie Frost. Sedition.
Sedition of the heart.
You'll be tried for love.
Crimes. So he was sentenced for 10 years and disenfranchised.
What are we talking about?
We're talking about pardon power.
Sedition.
Tradition of sedition.
Hey,
Makes my-
Takamata, what do you say? I just got back from the audit of Faye. The audit of Faye? What's the audit of Faye?
It's what you oughtn't to do, but you do anyway.
Is this in Hamilton too? I don't know.
No, this is History of the World Part 1. Mel Brooks,
Oh,
the king of comedy. My favorite.
that's a good movie. I'll have to go check it out sometime after this podcast.
Okay.
So we're talking about Warren Harding. He decided to pardon Debs. He commuted his sentence, and he was old anyway, and he served a bunch of years anyway. He finally was 2 years behind bars. They freed him, and so that was
How old was he when he got put in?
He was old. He died in 26, but then they gave him citizenship in 76.
Post-mortem?
Yeah, post-mortem.
What?
A lot of stuff happens post-mortem. They're like, hey, yeah, we were wrong. We shouldn't have put him in jail for sedition just because he didn't want to go to war.
So he got seditionship?
Mm-hmm. He got seditionship. Good one. I like that.
No, but what are you talking
Yeah,
about? He wasn't an American citizen?
Yeah, no, they stripped him of his citizenship for sedition. Sedition lost his sedition. Sedition lost his citizenship.
Sad.
Sad. And then the guy that we know as the end zone body, Jimmy Hoffa.
Oh, boy.
The Hoff.
He's not in the end zone. They dug it up. They didn't find him.
Yeah, he was in the other end zone, remember? He was in the wrong end zone.
They dug up both.
So he was the president of the Teamsters, and he was convicted 8 years for jury tampering and 5 years for mail fraud. And he only served a couple of years because Nixon commuted his sentence. He said, don't participate in Teamsters activities. But
Don't do it.
Yeah, don't do it. But critics say that it involved a backroom deal. A union would support Nixon's reelection. Obviously, that was
it. So Hoffa just disappeared.
Disappeared. Yeah, in 74. But Nixon won re-election, so guess that pardon worked.
Maybe if I disappeared, people would still talk about it. Maybe that's the secret. We just
Pardon me.
we need to disappear. Maybe that's what we're doing wrong, Matt. We need to
Yeah,
disappear
the
to make
people
our
who
career take off.
The people who disappear do very well. Mitch Hedberg's gone. Look at his career.
It's never
Flying
been
high.
bigger. He's
It's never-
bigger.
Bill Hicks,
Huge.
huge. Carlin,
Big.
Pryor,
Who?
still alive,
So he's not.
isn't he?
No,
No.
he passed away.
All right. Your point still
He
holds.
was great.
Do you know who got pardoned in 74?
No.
Yeah, Richard Nixon.
Tricky dick.
Yeah. So
Tricky dick.
he was granted a full pardon by Ford weeks after stepping down.
People weren't happy about it.
No, they were not. That's probably the reason that Ford lost. And then we had some interesting.
I'm Gerald Ford. That's a really
That pardon has been presented to you by Gerald Ford.
That's a good Gerald Ford impression.
And I'm Richard Nixon.
I tell you this.
I thought you were Gerald Ford.
I'm Gerald Ford.
Can I have a pardon? Pardon me.
Okay.
This pardon is presented by the Whiskey Rebellion.
Hey, you know how many presidents there's been that have not been elected?
You mean other than Ford?
Mm-hmm.
Other than LBJ?
No, I'm saying
Other than
Ford wasn't elected either
ever?
vice
You mean
president
ever? You mean ever?
or president.
Right. So is he the only one? I'll have to
I
look
think
that
so.
up. Okay. Interesting. So then we get to some interesting pardons. Patty Hearst got pardoned in 2001.
Oh, the Symbionese Liberation Army.
Symbionese. She was a 19-year-old heiress who shocked the world by joining the ranks of her captors. They were robbing banks and stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah, and
with machine guns.
Yeah, she took the name Tanya. Wow, it's weird.
She claims she was brainwashed, but
yeah.
I think she just was rich.
You know what would brainwash me? Like doing cool bank robbings.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
and not going to jail.
Not going to-
that would
Yeah.
that would brainwash me.
Yeah.
Where am I?
You're in a bank. You are holding a gun.
I'm Tanya.
You're Patty Hearst.
No, I'm Tanya. Get on the floor. I'll blow your brains out. If any of you effing pigs move, I'll murder every last mother effing one of
Be
them.
cool. Bitch, be cool, Patty. Bitch, be cool.
We're doing Pulp Fiction?
Yeah.
Okay.
Be cool, Patty. Do you know what? Hey. You know who's cool? Patty Hearst is cool.
What's in the briefcase?
Hey, it's not.
Shiny glow.
Patty Hearst got commuted.
You're ruining our PG rating
Why?
with your swears.
No, I didn't swear.
Mm-hmm.
Carter commuted her, but then commuted her sentence, but then Bill Clinton gave her a full pardon in 2001.
She didn't ever serve jail time.
I think she did 22 months.
Oh.
Yeah, she did 22 months. That's nothing.
But
That's nothing bad.
what do you
I ain't so
mean?
bad.
This would have happened well in the 60s, right?
No, 70s. Carter gave her, it was happening in the late 70s. And then Carter gave her, commuted her sentence, but then she got the full pardon. So then we have some interesting ones. The reason that we're talking about this is because I believe that the pardon power has always kind of been scummy.
Mm-hmm.
And so, everybody's like, oh man, this Arpaio, what are we pardoning him for? The pardon power is supposed to be for good.
You think Bill Clinton just wanted to be friends with Patty Hearst?
Yeah, he probably wanted to get involved in Tanya. He's like, no, your name's Tanya. I'm not having, I did not have sex with Patty Hearst. I did. Depends on how you define.
Sex with Tanya.
Did you have sex with one? You're under oath, President Clinton.
Yeah.
This is a deposition.
Yeah.
This can be held against you.
All right.
In a court of law.
Yes.
Did you have sexual relations with one Patty Hearst?
I can honestly say I did not. I had sexual relations with a girl named Tawny.
We have video evidence of you having sex with Patty Hearst.
She told me her name was Tawny.
We have a AK-47 that has her DNA, her vaginal secretions.
I put that AK-47 in her vagina.
Who's her?
Tawny.
Depends on what the meaning of Tanya is.
Tawny. I knew it was Tanya, but I thought Tawny was funnier.
So then Bill Clinton, his pardons were something
Epic.
else. On his last day in office, he pardoned a guy named Mark Rich. You know about this guy? He was rich.
He killed my father.
My name is Mark Rich.
My name is Emilio Monday.
He was a commodities trader. He built a business. He also traded crude oil. He bought it illegally. Crude. It was very crude. It's very crude to trade oil from Iran and Iraq when you're under an embargo.
That's what happened to the Beverly Hillbillies.
Were they trading crude oil
under the table?
Under the table? Well, Mark Rich was one of the hillbillies. So he was in Switzerland and he was on the FBI's top 10 most wanted fugitives list. And Bill Clinton pardoned him. And just coincidentally, Mark Rich's ex-wife donated millions to the Clinton Library of the Democratic Party. Isn't that a weird?
Very convenient.
Yeah.
An inconvenient truth. As Al Gore would say, a single drop of water. That's my Al Gore.
That's it.
A single drop of water.
A trickle from a stream can lead to a man making a decision.
No, you need to say it like Al Gore.
Oh.
A single drop of water.
Oh, single drop
That's
of water.
what I call an inconvenient truth.
Yeah. Do you think Al Gore went up to Clinton when he was thinking about pardoning him as vice president? And he was like, well, Bill Clinton was like, I'm gonna pardon my pal. That's gonna be convenient.
That's your scheming Al Gore.
No, the mom. This is Bill Clinton.
Oh. Hey, Al.
It's convenient. It's convenient.
I should resign and you should give me a pardon. Okay. Okay. I'll do it. Can I be president one? No, I got to run against George W.
No, you were supposed to say, that's inconvenient.
Inconvenient.
Nah, I think we should pardon Mark Rich because he's a big Democratic donor. Donor.
He's a donor kebab.
He's a big donor. I mean, look, all of them are scummy. Then this guy, Caspar Weinberger, Secretary of Defense under Reagan, he's a part of a little mess called the Iran-Contra affair. Political scandal, secretly selling arms to Iran while the embargo was in place. Those pesky Iranians.
Seems like whenever money's involved, pardons come a-flying.
from the beginning of time. Always. So Weinberger was indicted on perjury and obstruction of justice.
I think the hope is that your legacy will outshine those things that
Those pesky pardons.
they get swept under the rug.
Pesky. So George H.W. pardoned him in 92 before his trial could begin, leading some to believe the president might have something to hide. Then we had the Vietnam draft dodgers, unlike your dad. Jimmy Carter.
They got pardoned?
Blanket pardon in 77.
So everyone was allowed back in.
All Canadian draft dodgers. Actually, so my my sister-in-law's dad, he's got like a plaque on his wall of his draft dodging. I don't like that.
What?
Yeah, he's got like his draft dodging plaque.
What? How do you have a plaque?
Just like commemorating his draft dodge.
He spent money on a plaque?
Yeah, he's got like a little frame
he dodged?
draft dodge letter. Like a letter.
Oh.
Where are you? Get back here.
Oh.
Yeah, they sent you a letter like, hey, you're draft dodging son of a bitch.
I don't think that was in the official.
Dear sir.
You draft dodging. Dear draft dodging son of a bitch.
Yes.
Please return at your earliest convenience, written in the voice of Jimmy Carter.
I'm in Canada. Sorry. No thanks.
So how many years, though, were they not pardoned? They had to stay.
77. So a lot, 100,000 Americans left in the 60s.
So that's probably like 7 years they stayed in Canada.
Yeah. Enough to get an accent.
And didn't they have
how annoying were those guys? You know those like I remember when I studied in London, I come back saying chips instead of fries.
Chips. And you say, hey, cheers, mate.
Yeah, cheers, mate. Right? How annoying must have been those guys who spent 7 years in Canada.
Signed every email, cheers.
Eh?
Ugh.
Eh? I got a pardon, eh? Yeah.
Every time I got an email from someone and they signed it cheers, I knew that they spent a semester abroad.
No more than one.
That's right. Oh, you did a semester in London.
Oh,
great. Good for you.
What else did you learn? Cheers, chips.
I like warm beer now.
Yeah, warm beer, chips.
I'm a Lannister.
Yeah.
Their accent became as authentic as Peter Dinklage.
Westerosi locals.
That's right.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers, mate.
I'm from Cockney.
You can't be from Cockney. Cockney is a dialect.
I spent 7 years in Cockney.
You're reliving this. We had a conversation that Matt does not know what Cockney is yesterday.
It's an accent from my neighborhood in Cockney.
Oi, I'm finished, guys. I want some humble pie. Hey, governor.
You sound like you're from Birmingham.
No, that is Cockney.
Are you from Birmingham?
No.
Hey, I spent a weekend in Birmingham, eh?
I'm an expert on Birmingham dialect. I ate at a diner there.
I spent an hour dodging the draft.
I'm from Liverpool. My name's George. I'm Ringo. I'm John.
We're just waiting for our pardons. We'll play here in this bar until our pardons come through.
Oh, see, I know.
So Carter gave a blanket pardon, and then we missed one. You know that the Confederates got a pardon. All the Confederates.
Oh, you have to bring that up. I wouldn't have pardoned anybody.
Yeah, well, we had to reunite the Union.
Isn't there an album called "Kill 'Em All" by Metallica?
Yeah, was that about the pardons?
It was about the Confederate.
I think this one's going to be your favorite pardon. Puff the magic dragon lived by the sea.
They pardoned.
Raped a girl upon a plane and then they set him free. I just made that up just now. That was pretty good.
They extradited Puff from Honolulu.
That's pretty damn good, huh? Puff the magic dragon diddled a little girl, ran away and...
I ain't helping you out with this one. Ran away and he ran away.
President Carter set him free.
What did Puff the Dragon do?
Diddled a 14-year-old groupie.
Puff the imaginary cartoon dragon.
No, I'm sorry. I should clarify. Peter Yarrow, the Peter
Paul and
Mary. Peter of Puff the Magic Dragon.
Like, you're talking. I know he's talking about Peter, Paul, and Mary. Look at us knowing who Peter, Paul, and Mary are.
Yeah, she was a groupie.
So he diddled her.
Yeah, that was. Hey, how old are you?
Me?
You want to see my dragon?
But I never considered it. I'm a middle-aged man.
No, you're a 14-year-old girl.
All right. Oh, I see. Okay.
It's magical. You just have to rub on it.
Sounds cool.
You have to rub on it for 3 hours.
Is that your van that's got the moon-shaped window on the back?
Yeah.
And the unicorn mural?
Yeah.
Okay.
Have you heard of weed?
Is that like what you peel from your garden?
Yeah. This is magic weed. Do you want to make my garden grow?
I want to give you some milkweed.
Yeah. Are you now Peter and I'm the girl?
Are you good? Are you good at pulling weeds?
I'm very good.
I got a milkweed you can pull.
I do household chores.
Hey, puff this magic dragon. Puff on it.
Look, we shouldn't joke about this because this is
my mom's outside. My mom's a big fan of yours. She took me to this concert.
Matt meant his mother's actually outside the studio listening to this podcast, crying. She's weeping. I didn't raise you this way, Matt. This is wrong. This podcast is wrong.
Listen, we're not advocating for sex crimes. In fact, I'm advocating against pardons because I think they're despicable. President Carter, who we think is a sweet old man, pardoned Peter Yarrow because he was a fan of his.
I'm a big fan.
I just love that song. But President, he committed a sex crime against an but it's the 70s.
Who has pardoned the most people in U.S. history?
Well, so you want the stats on the pardons. Okay, I'll jump right in. See, you're trying to stump me. So
stump me, stump you.
Stump you, man. Well, it's interesting because they have all had a different amount over time. Obviously, there's been a lot more requested. So, for example, in the 60s, there were 2,000 requests received. Now, Barack Obama got 36,000 requests. So the requests for pardons have shot up.
The requests go up,
but the percentage has gone way down. So Richard Nixon pardoned 36% of the 2,600 pardons he received. So he pardoned, over almost 1,000 people. And so Barack Obama had 36,000 requests, and he pardoned 5% of those. So he pardoned 1,800 people. So he pardoned, obviously the population has expanded, et cetera, et cetera. But so George Bush only pardoned 2%, Bill Clinton only pardoned 6%, George H.W. pardoned 5%. But so what's interesting is the pardon percentage used to be much higher and sentences were a lot shorter. Now sentences are a lot longer and the pardon is used a lot less.
I bet you Trump doesn't pardon anybody.
Well,
except the one guy.
He's actually at 1.
He's got 1
He's
right
at
now.
1. He's at 1 out of the 1,800, but he'll probably pardon more people as the Russian investigation comes out.
Oh, people associated with it.
But there's been some really they all seem really horrifying to me. Like, this Arpaio thing seems despicable, but then some of them seem like, I don't know, like Reagan pardoned these guys. They said, is Arpaio the first guy to, be a civil rights violator? Reagan pardoned 2 FBI agents. They were convicted of conspiring to violate constitutional rights of these radicals. Felt was the guy later identified as Deep Throat. Back then he was just gag. He was
gag reflex.
Gag reflex guy. He didn't develop the
that was the first name. His first pseudonym.
His first name was Spit
Gag
into
Reflex.
His first name was just spit into the. No, actually, just put it in a tissue. His first nickname was just put it in the tissue. Just do it on your chest.
All right, that's a good first draft. Do you have any other ideas for a kind of name?
His first,
premature ejaculation. Just call me Premature Jack.
Pre-Jack.
Yeah.
His first few nicknames when he was younger, when his first nickname was "Ew, that's gross. Don't put it in my mouth."
How about Dirty Sanchez?
And then he kind of got, he was
Cleveland Steamer.
He got a little more free in his older days, and then he was
all right. Deep Throat. This dude.
Actually, now that he's older, he's Bukkake Felt.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Shut up.
They call him Mark Bukkake Felt.
Bukkake Felt.
Yeah. First he was, "Ew, I'm not doing that. That's
I
disgusting."
felt Bukkake.
First he was, "Mark, I'm not doing that. That's gross." Then he was, "Mark, I'll try it once."
You're crazy. You're crazy.
No, my name is Mark.
You're crazy.
Deep Throat Felt.
You're crazy.
No.
I wish you all could see how he's looking at me right now. and he's got a gun to my temple.
So these guys, they were government agents breaking into the homes of their fugitive members of the Weather Underground, these guys who were bombing the Capitol building.
Yeah, they bombed, I think they bombed several cities.
Right. So he pardoned them because they were, in his words, acting without criminal intent to bring an end to terrorism that was threatening our nation. So,
would you say Weather Underground is like Antifa?
Well, there is a parallel to be drawn. It depends on who you ask and who you ask on who Antifa is. If they are specifically just fighting fascism, then no. But if they are these, kind of anarchists that we are led to believe they may be, then yes. If they're trying to provoke a revolution and bring down all of our systems.
Because Weather Underground, they used violent means to get their agenda.
I don't approve of violent means.
I don't either. Not for anything.
Yeah. So I think it's okay that Reagan pardoned these guys who were going after the underground, but then that gets dicey. You get into a real dicey sitch.
What are you making, a Cobb salad?
Dice it up. Dice it up. And then you've got different reasons, right? You've got pardoning people who are, I think there was a argument to be made that the most similar parallel sort of for dicey pardons were the rich one. And then Obama pardoned a guy that has caused some hot water for people. He was a Puerto Rican terrorist. You know about that guy, right?
Mm-mm.
Obama pardoned him. FALM is a Puerto Rican military organization, which they bombed a bar in New York. I believe they killed some people. And Obama pardoned the leader of that group. So all these pardons are kind of dicey, but none of them really hold a candle to Mr. Sheriff Joe.
Uh-oh.
Sheriff Joe.
Sheriff Joe.
My name's Sheriff Joe, and
Not in my America.
if they all brown, you gotta bring them down.
Is that what he said?
I don't know. Pretty much.
Sounds like he was.
Yeah, he basically.
Not in my country.
Oh, yeah. He was.
I'm going to write all this on white paper.
He had white sheets everywhere, everybody.
Oh, boy.
So he would scoop up unauthorized immigrants.
They were profiling people.
Right. He would just basically just decide to profile and just scoop them up.
They look illegal.
Hey, man.
Hello?
Come in here.
Hello?
Get in here.
This is my home.
No, get in here. Get in the tent.
What? Why are there tents set up outside their house?
Because that's what they did.
Hey, let's set up some tents outside people's homes and tell them to come in.
Scoop them into it.
What?
He basically just rounded up anybody who looked brown. And they ended up in these horrible prison camps.
This was something that was going on in Arizona for
Yeah.
quite some time.
Yeah. He would just pick them up and just throw them in these tent cities. And he had all these crazy amount of people dying in his jails. Sheriff Joe. But he defied a court order to stop doing that.
So he was held in contempt. That's it?
Yeah. No, he was held in contempt and he was just sorry, not going to stop doing that.
Oh.
Yeah.
I wish he would have went to jail.
Yeah. Well, he can't.
He can't now.
He can't now. Now he's been pardoned.
No double jeopardy.
No, I don't know. Maybe they could get him, but I feel like it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad to use the pardon power against a guy who's
violating civil rights. Even the when the ACLU, who they're generally pretty unbiased.
Yeah.
They anger people to the point where they are so unbiased that you're like, what?
Why are you defending the neo-Nazis?
Right. And you're like, well, because unless you actually are inciting people to hurt other people, then your right to free speech is protected.
Yeah. But Arpaio, what's interesting is the people on the left are like, yeah, listen, he was just, the people on the right are like, look, he was just doing what's right. It's like, no, he was defying a federal judge.
No, he was doing what he thought was right, which was wrong.
Yeah, which was illegal, which was a flouting of the law, lawlessness. But what's fascinating is this is I think they're saying that this is Trump testing the system, testing how we react to this one.
This was dipping his toe in the...
What
do you think? What terrible thing is he going to pardon or overturn next?
I think it's going to be all the Russian stuff. It's going to be it turns out everybody involved, his kids, Jared Kushner, the Kush.
He can't pardon his whole family,
yeah,
can he?
Yeah.
I guess he could.
Pardon you. And you.
And you.
And you.
Pardon you. Pardon you. Pardon you. Pardon you. Pardon me. Pardon you.
Family Pardon. Who wants to play Family
All right, that was a great game show. Da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da.
I'm your host, Donald Trump. All right, who wants a pardon?
Me.
You got it.
That's the joke. And scene.
Hold on.
Who wants a pardon? Me. You got it. The end.
Hold on. Who are you?
I'm the woman no one likes.
You're not pardoned.
What's her name?
Kellyanne Conway.
Kellyanne Conway.
I thought you were saying I'm an immigrant. You're not pardoned.
Who's that woman nobody likes?
Yeah. No, I mean, look, Arpaio, he basically blatantly disobeyed a federal judge and, he was held in contempt for that.
But
and
wasn't he just a liberal cuck judge?
No, he was a conservative judge. That's the amazing part of it. His track record was that of a conservative judge. That's why it's like they don't have a leg to stand on all this stuff. See, if it would, it's like, hey, maybe. He had a lot of racist emails too, Arpaio. He had some real...
Well, if you're sending racist emails, don't. Well, send them by paper.
Yeah, send them by old school snail mail.
Yeah.
Send them by word of mouth.
Signed anonymous.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
He sent a racist email. This was horrible. One of them was a fake driver's license that said Mexifornia. It was a guy with a Mexican hat.
He was forwarding like a bad taste internet jokes.
Yeah, bad racist email jokes. Mexican yoga, all this other really nasty stuff. Yeah.
Jeez Louise, this guy.
Yeah, he's a bad dude. So but my point is that I think pardon power shouldn't. That's just my personal.
We
opinion.
shouldn't have pardons.
Nah, let Congress sort it out if they want.
I think pardons should require a committee.
Yeah, one guy. I think we're now seeing a lot of this stuff that we're seeing is you live by the pen, you die by the pen, right? These executive orders, these pardons, they all seem well and good when somebody you like is in office, right? And then all of a sudden, power creep.
So we should dial back the power that the president has.
I don't know. Maybe that's what this podcast is about. Unwittingly, we realize that. Pardon me. I mean, I did like it for the Whiskey Rebellion stuff.
What do you
Those
mean?
guys, I like the pardon power for that.
Yeah, but I feel like as we move forward, people are potentially abusing. I mean, they've been abusing it throughout history.
Well, that's the point. The point of this podcast was to say they've been abusing it throughout history. It's also, look, yes, they have used it for good with draconian drug sentences in the past 20 years. Like Obama did a good job of that. There were a lot of minorities who were in jail for mandatory minimums, ridiculous petty drug crimes, things like that. I agree with it. Violent criminals, people who give money to your campaign, guy who's just rounding people up because they're brown.
Mm-hmm. So the takeaway, though, is nothing will change this.
Nothing will change. The president will always have this power.
Because whoever is in power will want the ability to do it.
Of course they will. Nobody's giving up the pardon power.
Power of the pardon.
Power of the pardon.
The Pardon Podcast.
This has been...
What a deep topic. Great
deep,
topic.
Dark.
Yeah, this has been enlightening. But it also has been...
Legally insane!
See you next time.